Hello and welcome to Let's Chat. Today I'm here with Joey Jordan, founder of Rudiger Foundation. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Joey.
Thanks for inviting me. This is fun.
It is fun. I am excited to have you here because Rudiger Foundation has been such a great thing in our community for our local law enforcement. And so I was wondering if you could tell me what inspired you to found the Rudiger Foundation.
It was actually a bit of a process between three people. There was, at the time, in Nevada City, we go back to 2015, the chief was Timothy Foley, and we had a very, very committed officer at the time by the name of Scott Gowen. And Scott wanted a canine. He really wanted to be a handler. Of course, there wasn't a dime in the budget for something like that. So basically, the chief told him if he could figure out how to do it, he could have the dog. So we got to talking, and I'm a professional fundraiser. And so we discussed how much it would cost to put paws on the street. And the number was right around $60,000 at the time, just for the vehicle, for the stipend for the officer who would be called out at all hours. It's the only canine in Nevada County at the time, and for fuel for the vehicle, and every dime was calculated into it. That did not include the price of the dog. So Scott became very ambitious, and he studied up on where people were getting their dogs, and he contacted an organization out of the Bay Area that was providing the actual canines, the canine officers, just none of the training and none of the equipment. They came through with a dog for us, and we were $60,000 short.
Oh.
So we had the commitment for the dog from the Walsh Foundation, and then Tim Foley and I were standing right in front of the police station on Broad Street, and somebody I knew came walking by, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, we're talking about the importance of having a canine officer." And he said, "Oh, well, why do you want that?" And we talked to him for a few minutes, and he said, "Well, how much would that be?" And I said, "About $60,000. And he said, "Oh, well, what's the dog's name?" And I said, "What would you like the dog's name to be?" And he said, "Rudiger." And I said, "The dog's name is Rudiger." And he said, "Oh, okay, I'll give you $60,000. And he did.
Wow.
That was the launch of the foundation. We were really blessed in that a small group of very committed people came together quickly, including the people who owned Golden Era Cocktail Lounge, and they really launched Rudiger Foundation for us with the Rudiger Tuesday. They were closed at the time. They had just gone into business, and they were closed on Tuesdays, but they opened one Tuesday a month for us to introduce this canine officer to the community. Because, if you really think about it, this was putting something that, we presented as warm and fuzzy into the community, but it was a community of people who, in that moment, really were not embracing law enforcement. If you'll remember at that time, there was a mayor in Nevada City who was literally making national news by stating that that police had a mandate to kill.
I remember.
And so the timing, of course, was really intended to bring the community together with law enforcement, and it worked brilliantly. It worked so well. The entire community embraced this animal so deeply, and he was the perfect ambassador for the community. He really paved the way for other canine officers to become part of the community. And once we saw the need and the value, it was pretty easy sell. So in 2017, we decided we really needed to formalize as a 501c3 nonprofit. We had been kind of using the fiscal agency out of the Bay Area that had purchase the original dog. And so we formed then as Rudiger Foundation. And talk about an all-star cast with the board of directors. You know, we've always had the strongest board and people who, everyone just is,
Such as?
well, everyone's like, wow, how'd you get her? How'd you get him? We began with our founding board, Fran Cole, Diamond Baker Mitchell Cole, attorney. We had Tina Vernon, who is our current president. You might also recognize her name because you write a really big fat check to her every year for your
Yes.
property taxes. She's the county treasurer tax collector. We had Justin Sternberg, who has since moved to Alaska to take his entrepreneurial brilliance there. We had just a real cast of very dedicated but really experienced board members, and so that made it so much easier to attract not only the attention but the dollars to the organization to move forward. We never planned on 7 dogs when we launched this. We were thinking, oh, this is amazing. We have seen this incredible need, and we have filled it. We have a dog in Nevada City. Now we have 2 at the sheriff's office, 2 at the Grass Valley Police Department, 1 working dog at state parks, and a retired state parks canine, and also a retired, well, our namesake, Rudiger. He retired out last year.
Good for Rudiger.
Oh, he was such an ambassador for this community.
Oh, he really was.
Yeah.
He was. Everybody knew Rudiger, and the name was so unique that it really stuck in your head. So I'm going to back up a bit. You had mentioned that the officer had expressed a real need to have a canine unit. Can you explain what that reasoning was?
Yeah, it's we're really small agencies here. In the big picture of law enforcement, we have very small agencies with very little funding, and we don't have the luxury of sending numerous officers to incidents. So the dogs do a number of things. They're trained to be protection dogs for the officers. They're also trained to to track and to search and to find people in buildings if they happen to be doing a building search. They also have been trained. All of our dogs right now are trained to narcotics and narcotics detection. Their noses are so much stronger than an officer's, and they have led to locating and taking off the streets so many illicit drugs. So it's making the community safer in a number of ways. One is, and we saw this immediately when Rudiger took the street in Nevada City, nobody wants to fight a canine officer.
No.
Nobody. And so people who were being apprehended, they had traditionally fought the officers. We had officers out on injuries. We had prisoners that were injured when they were taken into custody because they were fighting. The beauty of having a dog on the scene is when you say, turn around, put your hands behind your back, people are going to look at that dog and they're going to turn around and put their hands behind their backs. And it just takes the fight out of it. It de-escalates situations so quickly. And so less injury to both the officers and anybody being apprehended. And also the detection and just having the dog on the scene can typically just bring the whole tenor right down. They're pretty valuable for that.
Yes, not to mention the ambassador part, like that you're talking about the apprehending of criminals part, but it's also a really great way for the law enforcement agencies to engage with the public in a way that is a little more warm and fuzzy, where they don't get many opportunities to do that.
They are great public relations tools.
They are.
Which is how we brought Rudiger in the first place. You may recall, and I think our cars still have the stickers of this. We had local artist and illustrator Jerry Ann Van Dyke. She created this dog, this kind of a caricature of a dog for us for our initial presentation to the Nevada City Police Department. To be really honest, we didn't know how that was going to go. We were working very closely with Mark Prestwich, was the city manager at the time, and we had his full support, and we had the full support of law enforcement enthusiasts, but we did not know if people were going to go, you're not going to weaponize our agency in this fashion, because, you know, the honest truth is that canine officers are tools. They are tools on the tool belt of a law enforcement officer, the same way their taser is, the same way their gun is. They are indeed tools. So we didn't know if people were going to reject that. So we had Jerry Ann Van Dyke create this warm, fuzzy little, we're like no teeth showing, there's tongues hanging out, big fluffy dog. She actually had used a photo of a canine officer in Placer County that has since passed away, but just friendly, sweet, lovable. Rudiger was selected for that reason. He was chosen because he was the dog whose tail you could pull, whose ears you could tug on. They had a little toddler at the time, his handler did, and that dog had to be sweet. And he had to be all business when that command was given. He was both, but he paved the way as the ambassador to really make the other agencies look at that and go, you know, this is a good idea for our agency, it's a good idea for our community. So by the time the other agencies were figuring that out and coming to us, we realized that this was going to be much bigger than just an initial $60 or $80 or $100,000 now it costs to put a canine on the street. And we were a little surprised at how embracing the community was of this. We have found a real sweet spot in the heart of this community, the combination of supporting local law enforcement and supporting dogs. It's been a very, very nice relationship with the community. I want to go back just for a second to mention Golden Era. Not only did Golden Era open their doors to Rudiger Tuesday, they also created a cocktail, the Rudiger cocktail.
I was going to mention that. I've had quite a few of them over the
Thank you, because that cocktail, the proceeds we got for years and years and years, that cocktail paid 100% of the training costs for all of our canine officers, because they gave us $1 per cocktail when they were sold.
Well, and that's why I bought it, and it was tasty as well. But
they're kind of delicious.
They are pretty delicious, but yes, I bought them for that reason, because I knew it was going to a good cause, and I think a lot of other people did too, in addition to the deliciousness of the drink.
And I believe it's still their second top selling cocktail on their menu. It's still on the menu, and it's a little secret about the Rudiger. When we were deciding what that was going to be, it was initially made with mezcal, smoky Rudiger. And that wasn't very friendly to a lot of people. So they softened it up and made it vodka, which we're very proud to have an official vodka, and we use only South Fork vodka.
Of course, because this community is amazing when it comes to collaboration and giving back.
And because we did a blind taste test on all the vodkas in that, and put it in that drink, and it is entirely different with that. It is so much better with that. But for the mezcal enthusiast, order the smoky. It's not on the menu, but the smoky Rudiger, give that one a try.
Oh, it's like the secret menu at In-N-Out, but it's the secret menu at Golden Era. Make sure you get a smoky Rudiger.
Yeah, try it. Let me know.
I
what you
will.
think.
You know what? I will. I like cocktails, so I'm always willing to try a new one.
And our canine officers really rely on a lot of training. They, from the day they are introduced to the agency and they pass their post-training certification, they are trained every 2 weeks for the rest of their career.
Oh, wow.
And so the training costs are quite high.
Mm-hmm.
And so the payment for those training costs is something else that Rudiger Foundation has committed to in perpetuity for all of our dogs, and we take care of all of that. We're pretty
That's-
excited about how some of our dogs have turned out, too.
Yeah.
We have 2 top dogs in the state through
Wow.
state parks.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 dogs that the handler there, Martin Gilbertson, he originally came to us with Miro, and Miro has since retired out, but he was top dog in the state 2 years ago, and then this year his new dog is the top dog, Ivan.
Oh.
In the state of California, the top dog.
Wow.
And so we're kind of figuring out, maybe it's not the dogs, maybe it's the handler, but we don't want to give him that much credit.
So I would imagine that the parks dogs do slightly different but similar duties than the beat patrol law enforcement dogs. I imagine there would be a lot more search and rescue, but still, sniffing out the drugs. It seems like they would be a really valuable resource to find things like missing hikers and.
Actually, they're not utilized that way.
Oh, really?
They are strictly law enforcement
Okay.
canines. They are both of the dogs that we have had here locally have been extremely personable because, of course, they are working with the public daily.
Mm-hmm.
But they are, they didn't get their top dog honors for being warm and friendly. They, they're top. I will never forget Miro, who was 100, when he was still working, his weight was around 120 pounds. And we were up in the old Grass Valley group building up in the tech center on Providence Mine, doing a search. They were doing a training there, and we just kind of went up to watch the training, see what they were doing. And when he went in to go after bad guy who was hiding in this room with a closed door, the entire upper level of that building shook when he hit that door. I've never seen anything like it. And the guy who was decoying on the other side of the door said he was terrified when he saw that door almost break down.
I bet. Was he wearing one of those suits like they wear in the movies?
He
They're like
was.
completely. I would imagine.
And we just purchased a new one for the state parks officers
Oh,
as
that's
well.
great.
They do a lot of their training up here, all of the northern region state parks canines, and so they're here quite a bit. We're excited to see all of the state parks dogs
Aw.
quite often, and also the training for the other officers is happening more and more in this community. The sheriff's office has gone so far as to they're building a canine training facility locally, which is fabulous.
Wow.
We're really excited about that.
That is exciting. So we're gonna have our own canine training center here in Nevada County.
A training facility for the canines. They have a lot of tools there to be utilized for training, and it's to keep our dogs fresh, to keep them as well trained as they can be. They can just take them out there when it's not their training time and run them through the obstacle course. There's a doggy treadmill.
Oh.
I know, right? That we were just able to acquire for them. Pretty clear to all of our agencies that whatever they need, we're going to be able to provide for them, and we're excited about that. We've been asked to provide a few new dogs. We've got a couple coming online. There will be one for we believe for the Wayne Brown Correctional Facility. There will be, I think, the sheriff's office would like another, and bring theirs up to 3 on the streets. And the Nevada City Police Department would like another dog now. And I don't know if I'm supposed to put this out in the public yet, but I'm going to. It's all about community embracing law enforcement. So we have been asked by the new police chief in Nevada City, who is hilarious, by the way. If you have not yet met him, you should get him on the show.
Well,
He is
all right,
he
that would
is
be wonderful.
Amazing. He is so fun. We have the best chiefs between him and Gamelgard. I don't know which one to love the most. They're
Yes,
so
I
great.
know. And then we have Shannon Moon for sheriff. We have such a great collection of law enforcement
We are
leadership here.
so fortunate here.
Yeah.
Chief Foss is asking us for a miniature pony. He wants a pony.
Does he really?
He does. He wants a pony,
A
and
drug sniffing pony?
I think this is just the most brilliant thing ever. I think he's going to name it Bubbles.
What is the pony gonna do? Please tell me what the pony's gonna do so I get the visual. It sounds like one of those cartoons my 7-year-old likes to watch.
Well, I think that the trailer will look very much like a cartoon. This is about bringing the community and law enforcement together. And as somebody who has had a child gaze up at you and say, please, can I have a pony? Who can say no to that, right?
It's like a wish fulfilled from like when he didn't get one when he was 5, maybe.
I do believe that there is a real need to bring that agency more closely, a deeper connection with the community. And I think that a pony will help them with that in a great way.
Yeah, the new closed off Mill Street, it'll be so cute walking back and forth.
I'm kind of excited about that. Never did we put in our mission for Rudiger Foundation that we would, provide law enforcement canines and a pony. But at this point, if somebody wants a lop-eared rabbit and it's gonna bring the community, closer to law enforcement, we're in an interesting time in America right now.
I was just going to say,
Things
we're in 2022. It's like we're in the upside down. So law enforcement ponies, why not?
Well, and whatever it is going to take to keep people together as opposed to apart.
Yeah.
We really need to be, as a full community, having the conversation about how do we improve relationships, how do we build trust, how do we earn trust, how do we maintain trust, and communication and bringing people together.
I completely agree, and I've just been told that we are just about out of time, so that was a perfect thing to end on, a message of unity. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all of this wonderful information with us today, Joey. If people would like to learn more or donate to the Rudiger Foundation or be involved in any way, how can they do that?
We are on the web at rufk9.org. So it's RUFK 9.
Oh, rough, like rough canine?
RUF, Rudiger Foundation, K9.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, and always reach out. You can get us directly, get all your questions answered. We're happy to come out and talk to people, bring dogs.
I was just going to ask if you'll bring the dogs and the pony.
We've got to get that pony.
I'm pretty excited about the pony. I'm not going to lie.
You and me both.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Joey. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all you do for the community and for our law enforcement and for just the world at large. You are a local treasure, and I am so thrilled to have had this opportunity to talk to you.
This was fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Let's Chat. We will see you next month.